Welcome to the Positively Star Wars Senate podcast. This is Obi-Wan Kenobi. May the Force be with you.
Looky, Senator. These are Jedi arriving.
Let's make this our best show ever!
I will sign no treaty, Senator.
I am the Senate.
This is the way.
Hello and welcome to Positive Star Wars Chat, because this is the Positively Star Wars Senate podcast. Coming to you via Skype and whatever the else Steven says. Steven's not here right now. This is Senator Ricky. I'm your host for today. The Chancellor will be joining us later. I am joined today by my counterparts, Ron.
Greetings and salutations, fellow senators, and in absentia, the Chancellor.
Yes. And we're also joined by Ryan.
Yord! I miss you.
Spoilers. And then we're joined by Marie.
Hello.
And today we are going to be going over the last 3 episodes of the Acolyte that have came out, so we can get caught up. But yeah, so like I said, Steven's going to be joining us later, but we're going to go over the episodes Destiny, I think it was Day, and the other one was Night. Unfortunately, there's no more slashes in the titles, but they might go back to that. So before we get started with that, though, let's hear a word from our sponsors.
Within every one of us, a battle rages between light and dark, peace and power, cookies and cream. Your fate will find you, and when it does, one question remains. The light side or the dark side? Star Wars Oreo cookies, open to discover your destiny.
All right, thank you to our sponsors. So next on the agenda is to go around the table to see what everyone's been up to in Star Wars land. So let's begin with Ron.
I've been watching and enjoying The Acolyte for the past however long since our last Senate session. That's my Star Warsing.
All right, and let's go to Ryan.
I have been loving The Acolyte and then crying myself to sleep because of the loss of Yord.
Oh. And spoilers again. Let's go to Marie.
Well, I've been watching The Acolyte, naturally.
And I've been watching Dune. Just kidding. I've been watching The Acolyte, so...
Dude, I watched that. Oh, my God. It was
I haven't watched the second one yet.
It was dreary. I don't even want to talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, well, luckily, we've all been watching The Acolyte. Not all been watching Dune like Ryan and falling asleep. But
this to be an Acolyte. Oh, I did watch Rebel Moon yesterday, too. I swear this past week.
What, are you torturing yourself? Like, what are you doing?
Get the garbage. It's like, get the garbage out of the way week. Like, oh, man. So
Okay. No wonder those Oreos didn't taste good to you.
So, yeah. Acolyte
Right.
Heavy Week. It's almost time for an emergency podcast. We're doing it a week earlier than normal because we felt like it was time. It didn't work for everybody. You know, people are on vacation. Steven's coming in late. So this 4th of July is always tough for us. But, man, these 3 episodes, or one and one long episode, as Ricky says, have been amazing. And I felt, Ricky felt like it was a great time to separate 3 episodes and then 3 episodes later, because we can't let it pile up because there's so much great stuff in this series so far.
It really did feel like a mid-series finale kind of thing,
Yeah, I agree. It's like a changing a little bit of direction by no spoilers, by something happening to every Jedi there. So, but
yeah, we had to,
episode.
We had to talk about it. So let's get started. So the first one we have is titled Destiny.
Spoiler warning!
And that one aired on June 11th. Directed by Kaganata, who I don't know what director that is, but so it's 16 years earlier, Osha and May live with an all-female coven of witches on Brendok. Their mother and coven's leader, Mother Anastasia, claims the twins do not have a father. They were carried by another witch, Mother Coral. Anastasia teaches the children the Force, which she calls the Thread, is misused by the Jedi. They undergo a ceremony to be inducted into the coven, which May is excited for, but Osha is not. Before Osha is inducted, the ceremony is interrupted by 4 Jedi who express concern that the witches are training children. They claim the right to test the twins for their suitability to become Jedi. Anastasia asks the children to fail the test. May does, but Osha chooses to pass it and tells Anastasia that she wishes to become a Jedi because the Jedi are good. Angry that the sister wants to leave her, May locks Osha in a room and burns her diary. The fire spreads and Sol helps Osha to get to safety. They see May seemingly die and find the rest of the coven dead as well. The Jedi take Osha to Coruscant and Sol promises to train her as the Padawan, but back on Brendok, May is shown to have survived and started looking for Osha. Or Oshi, as she likes to call her, when she's not pulling off the wings of bugs.
Leviosa.
Osha. Yeah, that was funny. So
Kill
what do you
me,
guys
by the way.
think of this episode as a flashback of the third?
I was shocked. I mean, legitimately shocked by like the negativity towards it. Just because like they just grab random things like stone burning, and then when I rewatch the episode, that doesn't really happen. So it's around the door burns and stuff like that. But when it goes to the zoom out and everything's falling apart, it's just random boxes and everything on fire. So it's just like the grasp at straws that it's been for this episode in particular is really took me aback.
The ingredients for spice cream is really flammable.
There's spice cookies. It's like, is that real spice? But overall, I'm always a big fan of just flashbacks in the middle of things because they gave a huge mystery of what happened 16 years ago. I'm almost hoping for another flashback on May's because like I feel like we need to know how she survived, what happened to the sisters. I mean, I feel like that has to be shown and not just explained, or maybe it can be explained and then flashback like a story being told, which we'll discuss what happened.
Like what actually happened, because with Torben too, because why was he all guilty about it?
And again, as I brought up in our last podcast, is that when Torben took the vow, it was 4 years after this incident. So it's suffering for 4 years. Was he doing something? So again, there's all sorts of mysteries that have me utterly hooked. And it's just an extra positive that there's all sorts of cool stuff going on. We have the battles, but one of the things that popped out to me is I love that we finally got an on-screen description of the way someone else views the Force. So we've all seen that for the ones that read the High Republic.
Yeah.
We've seen that. It's explained as, and we covered in the last podcast, it's explained as fire, it's explained, and I specifically brought up that one Jedi sees it as threads, and sure enough, the next episode, this coven explains it as threads. And I didn't understand that negativity either, because like in real world, religion is seen 100 different ways. So the Force has been seen different ways. I mean, we see it
like the Path of the Open Hand in the High Republic books, like had the same concept that the Jedi were misusing it, and if you like use the Force here, then it affects something else, somewhere else. So you could be like saving someone over here, but then someone else is going to die to take that place. So it's like pulling the thread and getting your destiny chose. That's what Mother Anastasia was telling her. So it's basically the same concept. So they think like there's a cause and effect for using the Force. So they think the Jedi are misusing it. But then they go and train their kids to fight with it. So I don't like what they're.
Yeah, that was like just it's just hypocrites. They're the bad guys or whatever. So, but people complain about the way that the Force is seen, but then act like. And I don't blame people for not reading the books. It's a huge commitment. People just don't have the time or sometimes money to do it. But even if you've watched the Clone Wars, you have to understand that the Night Sisters exist. So a different way that's viewed from the dark side. So like this stuff exists. I mean, are they
also a coven of all women? So it's not like a new concept for Star Wars.
Are they? So that's the other thing.
I would also chime in and agree with it that I thought it too a clever view of the Force from a different way. They didn't have the full grasp that our beloved Jedi do, it seems, but they understand it's something that can be controlled or utilized or manipulated. Manipulated is not the right word, but they just realize it's something. And like Ryan said, that it's just different religions all have their different views, perspectives from a certain point of view aspect to it that I enjoyed seeing that. it was shown from a different point of view. And like Ricky said, that right, we've already seen, if you've watched it, you've already seen it, so to speak, that's how we explain the Night Sisters' magics, if you will, that while it seemed hocus pocusy and potiony, we kind of eventually resolved it to being, well, that's their use of the Force, their understanding of it. And I think ultimately, right, the Jedi have the most, what do you want to say, the vast or most expanse knowledge of the Force, let's say. They've collected it over the millennia and have that great use of the Force. One thing I wanted to say about the fire, we mentioned about the fire going, there was a scene, a very short scene, a very George Lucas-esque type of scene where we saw like the infrastructure of the compound. I didn't quite get it, but we saw like it short-circuiting or electronic lightning bolts going through. I didn't quite understand what that was when they showed it to us, but I wondered if that was supposed to be hinting that there's something more going on there. It's not just the big giant cave in a rock compound, that there's something. So when the fire starts and gets out of control and gets out of hand, that it's catching other things on fire that causes explosions or causes problems that takes them all out or something, whatever. It's definitely a small scene that I think needs to be a rewatch to try to help. Might not have been the best use of it, but whatever. There's something in there that might try to help explain a little bit or add some to that incident.
That's why I feel another flashback is warranted, because we have to. I mean, that mystery was left open, and that's not a negative thing. It's something. This was filmed as like a 4-hour single show that has cutaways placed at very strategic spots. Like where Mandalorian is built to be episodic, this feels like it'll be better binged all together. So for people to complain that they don't have the whole story yet is mind-numbing to me, because we will see what happened to the witches or be explained, as long as the Jedi aren't the bad guys. That's my biggest concern. But it still won't reflect on all the Jedi. So I'm still, and people complain that rocks don't burn, like coal doesn't exist in our galaxy. Like it's existed for hundreds of years in our world. Stones burn, like coal is a rock. Like, let's be honest here, like rocks do burn. And if a galaxy far, far away just happens to have a mountain, and it's not like the whole mountain was up in flames anyway. She set fire to the door sparked. If you set fire to wires, they spark. And it's just like, okay.
Well, they obviously didn't die from the fire, because they were just laying, like 4 of them were spread out on the floor, and like they weren't burned.
Yeah, that's like from smoke inhalation.
Yeah, that, or they were just killed in a battle,
Like Ryan
I
said,
did
we
notice
haven't seen the whole story, so ruminating over it, what happened, or being mad that had happened and not explained. Well, just let's get through the whole thing, because I kind of agree wholeheartedly that I believe we see an additional flashback. Soul and other, they're still concerned. He keeps saying, "I'll explain more when we get back to the ship." There is more to this story that's going to be impactful. I don't know if it's going to be tragic or whatever, but we're going to see something that's just going to make us go, "Oh wow," or "Oh no," or "Oh something that's going to be a compelling story. So I am excited for it to play out, to see where this is taking us. So Ricky said about major cutaways, or this thing has major cutoff points, and I think I'm jumping ahead to the next episode. That, oh boy, did it ever have this series definitely has some cliffhangery, stopping points in its series, whereas we haven't really been exposed to anything like that. And I, for one, yelled at my TV, but I'm also enjoying it for what it is. I grew up with cliffhangers, so I understand. That's George's serialized sort of stay tuned for next week to see, if he escapes from the the cliff, literally hanging on the cliff or whatever. So I'm enjoying it.
And watching the show.
Exactly.
I did notice that.
Exactly. I'm with you, Ron.
There was a scene where I don't know if it's when the Jedi got there and the mother, not Anastasia, the other one, Coral. It leaves the room. There is. I found it weird watching the second time. There was a computer console in that room where they were training the kids. So there is some kind of electronic component to that whole facility. So, and then they had that door that May had to.
The one comes in and I'm sorry. The one
May
comes
has
in
that door
and
in the
interrupts
room.
the ascension ceremony, saying the Jedi have sliced basically hacked, I think is in the terminology, but have sliced the hanger or something. So there's electronics and technology and stuff that could not be fare very well in an uncontrolled fire, let's say.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the
So
other thing I don't get because, stone doesn't burn. Well, brick burns. Brick buildings burn all the time. Stone buildings are not going to obviously go up in flames like a wood building or something like that, but they will burn.
Yeah, so I always felt that was just a grasping at straws argument. The other thing I felt like is the big part of that episode, and again, it was focused on negatively, but we don't have the whole story, so I'm hooked on the mystery of it, is the potential of them having a fatherless birth. So, I mean, and it's not ruining Star Wars lore, like Anakin probably isn't the only one ever type
It's
of
adding
thing.
to it.
It's
If
a
Anakin
giant
was-
galaxy. There should be more than one occurrence of that.
But it's different though. Like I think Anakin was made by the midichlorians. Like he was just the Force. He was just created.
And
Where
on-
they
Anakin-
manipulated the midichlorians to create life.
Well,
That's what Plagueis.
Anakin doesn't even have a real canon reason because they released that comic that showed Palpatine.
Yeah, then they
doing
went back on that.
And then the writer was like, "Oh, that's not what I meant." I'm like, "Dude, you literally had Palpatine holding Shmi's stomach." But then in Legends, it's specifically said that Plagueis and Palpatine, meditated for a week straight to tip the balance to the dark side, and the Force possibly created a youngling to counter that tip that was on tippable now all of a sudden. So even Anakin doesn't have a true canon backstory of what happened, if he was created because of the Palpatine and Plagueis, or if Palpatine created him directly, or if the Force created him to counter what. So I mean, there's not even any canon for that. Truly, we just know that it's possibly a virgin birth type of thing, and it's like, okay, we just accept it. He's the chosen one. Move on. But like, they could have meant clones. So I don't know what if you guys are fully committed to that they're midi-chlorian, like birthed by midi-chlorians, or if they're clones because created and carried. So obviously one was birthed, because she carried them.
Well,
or
yeah, the
Could be
Coral
clone-
said she carried them,
probably.
and Anastasia said she created them. So I
Yeah.
mean, Shmi didn't say like, "Oh, I created him," or like, no, we haven't seen anything in canon saying that he was actually created. That comic book doesn't count. But yeah, no, and so like, if this does tie into episode 1, like, it's the precursor to that, and we know that, Palpatine tells Anakin that like, oh, my master, Lord Darth Plagueis, even they said he had the ability to create life. He had to learn it from somewhere.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was going to say that. It has to be learned from somewhere. And because they this is just a theory, from a coven of witches, doesn't make Plagueis any less of a threat. Like, they have to learn these from old books or from witches or from...
Look at Clone Wars. Palpatine had like a magic bowl he can see into other. He was using witchcraft. That's why
Yes.
they say the Sith are unnatural and do all the stuff they're not supposed. The Jedi don't do that. They think it's wrong, but the Sith will use everything they can find. That would help them.
Very intriguing.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that whoever the stranger is, really. I mean, we know who he is now, but like whatever that leads to, if that leads to didn't they have a leader for Plagueis or his master somewhere, right?
Well, he's an apprentice, so he's got to have a master somewhere.
Yeah. So I don't know. So if this is like
Because
the
that
story of Plagueis's master or Plagueis himself, then they obviously learned that power from the witches.
We'll get into that later and like what comes before Plagueis' Tenebrow. So I don't want to discuss Khmer just yet. But
We're assuming everyone has seen all the episodes if you're listening to this.
yeah,
Yes.
like we don't do non-spoiler discussions. We discuss what we see, and it's been a couple weeks, so
What
we're
do you
here.
guys think of the whole ceremony? What do they call it? The
The Ascension.
The Ascension?
Ascension. Yeah, the Ascension.
So do you guys feel like they were transferring power into the kids? Because remember, they also said this is the first time we've been able to do this since they were exiled. So
Because the
these are
moon's
first-
aligned. Yeah.
Yeah, these are the first thing. They created the kids after exile, and created with air quotes, whatever it may be. I'm up in the air. Tell me a story, I'll listen. But it definitely to me seemed like she gathered some sort of ability, possibly the Force, and transferred it into May, and that's how she got, then she got the little gold circle or whatever. To you
A little
guys,
tattoo on her forehead.
yeah. So to you guys, does it seem like they are pooling their abilities and transferring them? By abilities, I guess I mean the Force into them. Because remember, Osha doesn't go through the Ascension, but she still trains to be a Jedi, and we assume that she has we definitely know she has the Force because she starts to have feelings. So she didn't go through the Ascension, but she still has Force abilities. So me, an anime watcher, is it like an awakening of the Force to because Luke Skywalker at one point in the comics said everyone has the ability to see the Force. It's just that for some people the door is opened more. So was the door kicked open for May, and Osha had to slowly open it through the Jedi training? So I don't know what you guys think of what they were accomplishing with that.
And that's why she fizzled out. Well, we don't really know why she fizzled out. If from Soul, it says here, oh, you're still angry. So maybe that was why she left the order, because she was still angry about what happened with her sister. But yeah, no, and then it did bedazzle her forehead. So like something happened from the moon power.
Something did happen. I think it was like some kind of a transference of power, like you said, or not necessarily like a transference of abilities, but I think their collective ability to like access the thread or the Force or whatever kind of awakens that ability when they go through the ceremony.
Ooh, maybe it's like a protection thing. Like May didn't die. Maybe it's because she had the emblem on her forehead. Maybe it's
possibly.
Like a protection thing.
But I guess Osha didn't die either. So
as I'm discussing it, I guess I think of it more of awakening. Because if you watch in Total Darkness with the brightness all the way up, you literally see her almost holding like a ball of light. So do the Night Sisters in Clone? You guys have better memories than me. Do the Night Sisters in Clone Wars do any type of spiritual transfer or anything like that? Do they do that in Clone Wars?
They did. Mother Talzin did it when she resurrected what's his name? Not Darth Maul. Well, when she made Savage into a monster, and then when she gave Darth Maul legs, like she had that green magic, and it transferred from I forget what it transferred from, but it went through his body.
Like with her others around her chanting, maybe.
Yeah.
Like I just want to know if we've seen this before, but because remember, they could be a Night Sister that's kicked out of the. I mean, you have to do something really bad to be kicked out of the Night Sisters, but
Mother Coral she's a Zabrak, right? So
yeah, she is.
Yeah, so she's from those planets in Dathomir.
Then she might be familiar with like Night Sister magic.
Yeah. They're just like an offshoot, and they don't use the green fire magic.
Isn't the Tales of the latest one that came out? Didn't that also reveal that there's separate Night Sisters?
Yeah, the ones that were in the mountains. Remember?
Yeah. Okay,
so there's different Night Sister tribes.
Okay, so there might be an existing thing, and again, this is where the negativity, where it's like, well, what's going on? It's like, well, no, they definitely unlocked the potential for Savage, and again, to me, it's like a spirit bomb in Dragon Ball Z. You're just giving people your power, or like Gohan when he gets Beast Mode awakened, which is a deep cut for anybody, but they get their powers truly awakened, and so I don't know if Savage's powers were awakened or if he gained powers and he improved his bench press, because his muscles got jacked.
He got gains.
Yeah. So I just
definitely gained power.
Yeah.
So do you think
wasn't there something to Osha? And we were talking about Osha flaking out of the Jedi. That I think Master Indara, wasn't there a line about Master Indara was trying to kick her out or something about? Or was that?
Yeah, they told her because Indara was the one that was petitioning for you or suggested that you would be removed, and she's like, no, I left on my own. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's more to come. There's a lot more to the story, definitely to come as to what's transpired to get to this point.
And then we saw them possess Torben. When that guy aged horribly, but they showed him turn with the black eyes and all that stuff, and I don't know. So I think something happened that made him feel guilty. Maybe she possessed them when the Jedi came back, and he started attacking people, and
Yeah, he might have been seeing things, or he might have been bad to people, and it took 4 years for him to finally be like, I'm going through some personal problems. I need to take the vow. So, and I hope we get that, because that'd be a great issue to bring up. I'm like, mental health, and that's great to appear on
I
screen.
wonder if he got possessed again, and that's why he took the vow.
I don't, and again, it's weird that it took around, because he says he took the vow around 10 years ago. So there's a little gap. What is it, like 6 years, I think, or 4 years?
There's a gap of about 6 years before he even takes the vow.
So she left. When did Osha leave? Was it 6 years? I'm trying to think. Like, how long has she been gone? I don't remember.
Because remember, my thing is, Osha left 6 years ago. She joined the Jedi when she was 8. So she was 16 years, that he was on Brandak. So she was a Jedi for 10 years, left 6 years ago. So that would put Torben 6 years after the stuff on Brendock. So it's like, what's been going on for 6 years? Like, did your mental health deteriorate? It's just a weird time thing that, again, intrigues me. And rather than complain about it, I'm like, just go ahead and show me the story, and I will be open when you explain.
So if that's the
the
timeline,
thing-
then Osha knew when he was doing the Bearish Vow already when Osha was still training?
When she was a Padawan, yes.
Okay.
When she was a Padawan, but it took a while for him to even take the vow.
Yeah. So again, that's just a mystery for another time, and I guess we'll see what happens. So
Yeah, I like that whole. I mean, obviously I want to know what happened, but like them going back and saying what actually did, because I'm watching it. I've watched that episode a couple times, and like, it doesn't look like it was anything to do with the fire. It looks like maybe they got killed, but who knows? And then I don't know. Something's probably going on with Soul, and so they came back while May was trying to burn Osha in her room, right?
the Jedi.
There was some time during that.
I don't think much has passed, because they left, and then they're like, okay, well, no, because they said, we're gonna do the test tomorrow, so we'll leave. And then after the test is when everything got mad, and they probably heard the explosion and came running or whatever. So again, it's just, we'll see what happens. I just crossed my fingers because I am a pro Jedi guy, and the hashtag Mace was right. As I fight with Ricky all the time, that the Jedi barely did any wrong. Yeah, there's some bad eggs, but like, I really don't want Soul to just pointlessly kill an army of witches because they don't agree with them. So it's like,
no, I think they attacked first because that Mother Coral was kind of hot-headed, and she looked like
she was. She was a little bit on the offensive, so I'm pretty sure that whatever happened, she kind of like lit the spark.
Agree, but agree that she was hot-headed, but even if she attacks or starts or lights the spark, I kind of also lean with Ryan's thought that I don't know that I want the Jedi dispatching all of them. That kind of will. It was already a bit of a cringe factor. It wasn't cringe. It was just that's what the Jedi were doing when they were spying on the girls and then came to take them. But then it kind of got explained. The cringe didn't last for me for very long because it then kind of explained that they were watching him to see that yes, you were training children. Oh yes, they're force sensitive and I think even Master Andara says the Jedi have a right to, train or take potential Padawans, and they're like, yeah, but the Republic doesn't exist down here, or whatever. It was just a different. That's what I enjoyed about it. It was a different take on the Jedi than what we thought we knew or what we're used to, and that makes sense because it's 100 or however many years, but they're still learning or figuring it out or evolving as the Jedi that we come to know. But I agree. I don't know if I want.
Well, then who knows the history of this coven, because they did get exiled for a reason, so they were doing something, and then they've been looking for them the whole time.
Right? Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were exiled. You
had said
about this is the last time. Sorry, so somebody said about this is the first time we've been able to do this since we were exiled. But is that because this is the first kids we've had to ascend? Is to me, I thought that was kind of the reason that hasn't been done in a long, long time. This is the first chance they've had the opportunity because they haven't had any. Everybody's already ascended in that coven. They don't have any new blood.
Well, and then Osha clearly wanted to leave, and they were like, "No, you're staying here." So they were like,
"No, you're staying here." They're coercing her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you bring up an interesting point, Ron. Did anyone else have the gold tattoos, or only Mother Anastasia? That's why, because I was reading this line, and in our previous discussion a minute ago, it pops out a lot, where she says this is about power and who gets to use it. So is it almost like all the power of the coven should be focused on the few beings like Mother Anastasia, and then she wants to ascend the kids? Like, is she about, or is this about their group holding the power, or only someone from their group holding the power? So I don't. That's just an interesting
I
statement.
have to see if those twins they were fighting had it too. The older ones that they're training
Yeah,
against.
I don't remember anybody? Yes, I don't remember anyone else having it. So.
Well, they did
But
say that that's
I don't
like
remember-
showing that they're part of the coven if they get that symbol. So maybe they do all have it.
Remember, May didn't have it before. She gets the ascension, and then she gets it. So whatever the ascension is, it's, they get the gold because of that. So obviously, Mother Anastasia went to the ascension. I don't remember it on Mother Coral. I don't remember it on her. So I might have missed it.
Hey,
but
I'm definitely jumping ahead. I'm sorry, but is that symbol we see in the Wookiee's place?
Yeah.
Oh yes, like more mystery. Like,
we do.
What was he studying? Like, so I want more information. It's great.
Yeah, we're still in the middle of the story. That's what I don't really get when people complain about how this isn't like a full story. Well, it's not a full story. We haven't seen all 8 episodes yet.
Right. So
regardless if the Jedi people think that they're doing, I don't know. They're too dangerous to be kept alive. Like I'm on Mesa's side. They need to like take them out if they're being evil, especially if they're holding kids against their will. Like she clearly wanted to leave, and they're like,
that's a good segue into what the Jedi said. Is they have the right to train kids with your permission. Right? They did seem a little aggressive about it. They ended every sentence with your permission. And I can't stand when people say the Jedi steal kids, because they don't. No. We see it in the Clone Wars that there's a whole list of kids that they haven't taken. So they might have been a little pushy, I will admit. It's like they could tell that whatever, they might know the full history on this coven. And it's like, listen, see you training these kids, and that's not allowed. Like, because
there's
we know
a reason why there's a law saying they can't train children.
Yes.
And they were cut off.
Hey, as a father who struggles with outside influences on his children, if you will, so to speak, and just didn't prepare for that, or wasn't prepared for that aspect of things. Seeing Osha, seeing the Jedi there and sort of dangling this carrot and saying, oh, look, we do. And she's like, abandoning everything, her family, if you will, after 10 years or however long, she's going, no, I want to be a Jedi, not knowing, we don't know how much she knows about him or what history but she's seen them all of 2 seconds from our point of view, and just like, no, mommy, I want to be a Jedi. And it's just like, oh, ouch, that did ring a little true to me too, or a little hurtful in terms of you've got this outside influencing, but it's the nature of, I'm coming to grips with it a little better, that it's the nature of things that you have to let go. The kids, they have to find their own path and do their own thing.
And they do say they're going to take a vote on it. So in this galaxy, they're a coven, and they're like, they want the kids to do their own. For normal people not in this coven, the galaxy...
It's an honor.
It's an honor. Galaxy respects the Jedi. And if your kid has the ability to change the world, and it's like, yes, some people say no. We've seen it in Clone Wars. People say no. But there's also some people that's like, wait, my child has the chance to be one of 10,000 and of trillions to add change and peace to the galaxy. I will sadly give them up, so they can make, because that's what everyone wants for their kids, is to make a difference in the world. And if they're blessed, and great. And then sometimes you're on guard duty. Who knows? Like, it's a give or take. You never know what's going to happen. So
no, but we see in Clone Wars that it's an honor if the Jedi show up at your door and you have a gifted kid. Everybody wants their kid to leave whatever crazy planet they're on that they have like no future, basically. So here, oh yes, take my kid. Like, he's gonna have a great life as a Jedi.
And look what happened with Dooku. Like, Dooku had wealth and riches, and he left the Jedi because it's like, well, I don't agree with what they're doing, but I also have this entire planet that bows to my name. So it's like, that's they cut off everything. Yeah. So I just want to point that out really quick, that it's like, they didn't try to take these kids. They might know more about the coven than us, the viewers. So it's, again, just relax, people. We have 3 hopefully larger episodes that it will be, because they got a lot of information I need right now. So I'm hoping these jump back up to like the 40-minute mark, because they obviously split the next two in half. So
Ryan, like just to go back to that, like though, but like we both read Light of the Jedi, or not Light of the Jedi. What's the last one we just read? Living Force. And there's always that point of view over like, oh, the Jedi still trilogy. It's always the people that don't get taken that have that point of view, that see it as like, oh, they just came in and took my sister, they came and took my brother, but that's not what happened. They're just bitter, so they're coming up with excuses for it, they're trying to justify their anger, but it's not really. They don't go in there, oh, give me all your kids, and they're not really being painted that way. Just this coven is basically kind of evil, so.
Yeah, more story to be told. And that I do find it interesting that at that time, 100 years prior, they're still, I shouldn't say still, but they're doing blood tests to test for midichlorians. So remember, Torvin takes Osha's blood, and she's like, oh, what was that? So and again, I wish someone would look at that blood test and be like, there's more midichlorians than Master Yoda. It's like, so created by the Force, then you would have nothing but midichlorians. But still, hopefully that comes back around, or it's at least to say, yeah, this blood test has been around for a long time. So when you see it in Phantom Menace, it's like no big deal. So,
sorry, I don't think it's coming back around, Ryan. I think it was just to show that they still do it. I don't think we see anything more out of it whatsoever. It's just going to show that, yeah, that's a thing they do, just to reinforce what we saw.
Yeah, I'm hoping they at least mention, well, they just have a normal amount of midichlorians. Torvin took the test. Like, I don't expect a whole episode on it. It's just
like a passable amount. Yeah.
Over 9,000. Oh, next up.
She met the threshold.
Yeah.
All right. The next episode was Day. It was aired on June 18th and directed by Alex Garcia Lopez. And let's see what this one was about. It says, May and Chimera begin searching for Kelnaka on Kofar, where he has isolated himself in a forest. It's a nice, what do they call it? A nice reserve, meditation reserve thing. And that says, Soul discusses May with several Jedi Masters who believe her master must be a fallen Jedi. They send him and Osha to apprehend May with a group of Jedi, including Yord and Jeki. On Kofar, the Tynian tracker Basil, they use the Tynian tracker. Is it Tynian or Tinian? I say Tynian because he's little. To begin, Tynian? Basil, who's super cute, to begin searching for Kelnaka by following his scent. Osha's connection to the forest begins to grow again as she connects with a large bug in the forest, which attacks them and is killed by Soul. May begins to feel that her mission to kill a Jedi without a weapon is impossible and no longer relevant to her now that she knows Osha is alive. She captures Chimera in a trap and rushes to turn herself into Kanaka. Planning to reconnect with Osha and tell the Jedi what she knows about her master, however, she finds Kelnaka has been killed by someone using a lightsaber. The others soon arrive and surround May, ordering her to surrender. Before she can do anything, her master appears behind them. The figure activates a red lightsaber and uses the Force to attack Osha and the Jedi.
Best ending ever. Like,
I like when he floats down.
Dude,
Best ending ever. I literally yelled at my TV in a good way. I was like, I audibly yelled at my TV, mad just because they did the cliffhanger and got me. They sucked me in, got me to want to see the story, got me hyped and got me on the edge of my seat, ready to go and let's see this, and then the credits, and it was just like, oh, what? But it was effective and very well done in that sense of, all right, well, then let's bring next week because I got to see what the heck just happened.
He does a little finger move and flicks her across. I was like,
I should say best reveal ever. Like the out of focused, scary float down. Like you don't. And I like horror movies because they work on me. So where you don't see the figure, but you see the movement, and then smoothly moving towards you without walking, and then that creepy smile. I was like, that was literally bone chilling. And I loved it so much. Like there was a lot of talking, a lot of build up for this episode because you're leading to the next episode. So it's like you had some story build to do. But man, I know I'm jumping ahead to the ending, but oh my God, that float down was like incredible. Such great directing and writing. Like that's all directors, writing, and visual people. Like let's put it out of focus. Let's make it float and not walk. Like that just makes that tingles turn up just a little bit. Amazing reveal for this character. I loved it.
Yes, I hated the mask when they showed it in the beginning, like in the trailer, but like I think it's pretty awesome now. Like seeing like
Yeah.
how that character is, like that it was just neat seeing
We'll get
this
we'll
bad
get to
guy that's
how,
scary,
we'll
Just
get to
scary.
how awesome it is next episode, so we can kind of just touch on this one real quick. So, but something that I noticed just small at the beginning is when they're doing the little training stuff with the Padawans, they're all doing the Obi Annie, the behind the back and in the front. They're all doing the Anakin maneuver, and I was like, great, that's just amazing to see that it's like a staple in Star Wars now. It's something that Hayden Christensen helped create. Like they're just doing normal maneuvers, and he started doing it behind the back, and they're like, that looks really good, and he just became a pro at it. So I love seeing the Obi Annie or Annie Obi, however people say it, trained to youngsters. So I thought that was just a good, great little callback in Star Wars.
Yeah, I thought it was that was that episode, right? Yeah, this is the one with Kiadi Mundi, which I did say when we did the first premiere, like, where's Kiadi Mundi? He should be here.
Oh, there he is. He's right there.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I guess we should touch on that then. Like, and I said, oh, I don't think he's alive. Well, apparently in Legends he wasn't alive. So Lucasfilm changed very heavily, changed. And again, it's Legends, but again, it's canon until it's overwritten to me. So, but they changed it that he was born obviously way before, at least 50, 20, 30 years
He's like
before.
super old. Like, so he should be around during that time. Like, it doesn't make sense that he's not, He shouldn't be 60 years old in episode 3. That just doesn't make any sense. Or episode 1.
And again, that's no big deal to me. It's like, okay, well, his species lives longer, just like every other species in the galaxy, as humans are the flies that just live for a day long, but regardless. But
No, I was like that meme with Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm like pointing at the TV. I'm like, look, it's him. He's there.
I'm like, oh, that's just another species. And then his name appeared in the credits. And I'm like, I'm wrong. I was totally wrong. Because people also said that was Chicken Head guy, Plo Koon. And
Oh, yeah.
No.
that wasn't him either. So I was like, oh, they're just of the same species.
Didn't Plo be alive, though, during this time?
He
Yeah,
could, conceivably.
I guess anybody could be alive if they wanted
Well,
to.
no, I'm just trying to think of the book with Yoda when he was saying, like, it was Yarl Poof was still around, and
Oprah
who's the other?
Rancesses.
Oprah Ancestors. Yeah, those are the two that should be around somewhere. But they're on the council, so.
And Yoda and Yaddle, and that's my only problem is Living Force said Yaddle or Yoda was saying, oh, I've been around for centuries with Oppo, Poof, and Yaddle, and nobody mentioned Key, but I'm just like,
He was on
whatever.
the council.
Yeah, he might not have been on the council or whatever, so.
Yeah, because Vanessa was
Centuries
like, we
or
alert the
a
council.
century, because he was like 100 something.
Ryan, how do you feel about Vanessa trying to cover things up?
I'm a huge Vernestra fan, but I'm like, and I understand you need story points, but it's like she gets really kind of bullheaded about it, and then she changes her mind anyway. Like, no, we shouldn't do that, and we have to worry about our political people. And I'm like, why? And let's be like, we haven't seen her pull her lightsaber yet, so what's going on? Like, was that to a bigger scene where she's going to fight somebody, or is somebody going to walk in her and she's just training with it? Is she going to do something cool, or is she just training? But that's for predictions later. I don't have to touch.
Well, they're running out of Jedi, so.
Yeah, right. So there's still clips that haven't showed up yet.
I think there's another one of Torben, like with his eyes blackened too. But
onto the Kiadi Mundi thing, they used him for a reason. Like, he is the Jedi that said the Sith have been gone for a millennium. So they have a reason for moving Key's age back so much now into canon. They specifically did that. So to use a different Jedi to say, the line in episode 4 or whatever it is, where he says, this can't be a Sith, it has to be a fallen Jedi. And then the other Jedi says, or it could be another sect.
Yeah, it could be an offshoot.
It's another reveal that there's more than just the Jedi that do the Force.
Yeah. I mean, and even in Phantom Menace, like I pointed this out, I'm like, they didn't even think Darth Maul was a Sith until the end. So and he was fully fighting with lightsabers and all that stuff. And he literally was a Sith Lord, and they're still like, that's not a Sith. So they're in denial that it's so much hubris that they're like, there's no way they can be a Sith Lord.
Yeah, and they changed Key's age specifically so that line has more weight in episode 1. So to me, the stranger still isn't a Sith type of thing. He could be a Ren, he could just be an imitator, a follower, just another dark side user that's like, oh, these Sith have been gone for, at the time, 900 years, but I found all these volumes, so I'm studying type of thing. And and they had the Force, and he could be a fallen Jedi because they didn't know who he was. He could easily be a fallen Jedi or a Jedi trained by a fallen type of thing. So he doesn't have to be a Sith, but I think it was powerful. There's a deeper message to using ki, and that makes his line stronger in episode 1. That
it doesn't really make sense that he was like 60 years old in episode 1 saying they've been extinct for millennia. I'm like, how do you know, dude? Like, you haven't been here,
Yeah, so you make him a little bit longer. You introduce somebody that looks like a Sith, and it's proved that he's not a Sith. So it had more meaning than just, they didn't choose Ki-Adi-Mundi out of a hat. Let's be honest. No. They did it for a reason, and that reason was to make his line as an episode 1 stronger. So did they change Legends? Yeah, whatever, but they made it.
Everything's changed Legends. Legends has been changed since like episode 1.
Yeah. And let's be honest, Fett's history was in Legends until George said, I don't like that, I'm going to change it. So
yeah, they're clones now. Yeah, that's all just like, I don't know. It was just annoying that people were just so mad at him. Like, it's cool that he's in it. Like, just
it means more.
Ryan, I would agree. People are upset about the writing affecting Ki and his placement of it, but clearly those people are writing and know all that we all know about Star Wars. So yeah, while they might be tweaking something or change something so the story works, all right, they're tweaking something and changing something so a bigger story works, and we'll see how that lines up with whatever they're doing with Ki, so that it makes his line work.
It still doesn't affect anything he did in
I don't
Legends.
think they're doing it blatantly, not knowing that having no clue he said that. They have to be fans enough to know he said it, or the story group or somebody has to be going, okay, well, we have to make this work.
Yeah, they're giving a backstory to his statement in episode 1 by filling out his personal history a little bit longer. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you changed something from Legends, but you made the lore mean more, which is even more important.
It doesn't even change anything that happened to him in the Legends books. It just gives him more time to do more stories before that. It's not like...
Yeah, no big deal.
I mean, if they kill him, yeah, then that's different. But then he's dead in episode 1, so they're not going to do that. So yeah.
So what about May's change of heart? Because I feel like that was a big focus on the episode that got a lot of discussion from inside and outside people. Did you guys feel like it was warranted that all of a sudden she's just like, to hell with this? Like, this is ridiculous. My sister's alive after 16 years. Maybe I don't want to do this ridiculous task anymore. So I don't know if that's how you guys felt, or if it's like her almost turning her back on her master and not wanting to do this test anymore. Was it too sudden? Or did it need a whole nother episode for her just to look at her feelings? The previous episode was a flashback, so that really doesn't count as part of the timeline. But you got to think, she just saw her sister, then she jumps, and then if you skip from 2 to 4, then it's just like she's now doing all this task. So you got to think, like, in her head, she's got to be so tumultuous that her master or whoever has told her that her sister's been dead for 16 years. It's the Jedi's fault. And then all of a sudden she's like, no, I'm alive and I'm being trained by the Jedi. So I don't know if you guys were
she wanted revenge for her sister getting killed by the Jedi, and then finds out, wait, they didn't kill her. She actually did become why am I doing this task? Like, what do I need revenge for? She's alive. She's right here. Let me connect with her, So it totally took away her like angst. Like when she saw her sister, she's like, well, why am I doing this still? Why do I need to kill Kalnaka?
To Ryan's question, it was very quick, but for the episode, for the story, for the show, we don't need a whole lot of expounding on what we just sort of discussed as to the motivations behind it. We don't need to be shown all of that and all of it. We don't need it. We can feel that in ourselves that she saw her sister alive. She did make it with the Jedi. She is okay. And wait, why am I doing all that? I was mad and driven by revenge. Why can't somebody be, I don't want to say wishy-washy, but flip-flop in their Yeah, I guess once the dark side forever does it control your destiny, but it doesn't dictate it. It just controls it and leads you down a path, and you can change. But she has kind of gone back and forth a little bit, I guess. But
Yeah.
she's conflicted, challenged. She's being corrupted by, she's getting brainwashed or she's getting fed things, and she's conflicted because she lost her sister, but now it's back. So yeah, she should be someone that's a little challenged by it all and trying to make sense of it all.
That's why novels sometimes tell a better story. Like if you read the Revenge of the Sith novel, you learn so much about the interworkings of the characters. So you get to hear what they're thinking, you get to read it, you get to understand the change that Anakin makes. Where this, if it's shown on TV, it just looks like May's just like, okay, I'm evil. Nope, no, I'm good. No, we don't get any of the inner monologue that's like, oh my God, my sister's alive. Did the Jedi not kill her? Have I been manipulated my whole life? Like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I just want my sister. That's not there. So we have to add it in as people who pay attention, as people who pay attention, who are willing to understand a story without needing a 40-minute conversation about why she's turning. Like, okay,
and that's the thing that gets me, because people don't understand that, like, you have to be able to read between the lines, and they're not going to explain everything to you because this is a visual medium. They're not going to sit there and like expound on their inner thoughts. And yes, that's where I agree with you, because in Revenge of the Sith, everything I've been actually listening to that, and everything makes absolute total sense. The scene where Anakin gets turned and how he's manipulated by Palpatine into turning is so well done. It's not like, I pledge myself to your teachings, and that's that. It seems like it comes out of nowhere in the movie, but when they fill it out in the book, but you have to be able to fill those things out in your head. And I think what's happening with these people that are complaining is the fact that there's a lack of imagination, that they don't know that they don't have to have everything explained to them. And this is weird because, I mean, we've been doing Star Wars for how many years? And you should be able to, I mean, I guess maybe because I'm one of the earlier generations, but who played with the toys and, did all that storytelling, playing with the figures and all that. But like, you fill in the gaps in your head. You don't have to sit there and have it explained to you. Nobody should have to hold your hand and tell you, hey, this is how we get from point A to point B to point C. You make your own conclusions.
We did that for Vader for years.
We've been living with you fought in the Clone Wars for a very long time and filled that out. Now, it didn't have a lot of impact to the original three, but still there was lines of dialogue and motivations and things that we worked on and filled in versus so it's just a different era for sure, that they gotta be a little patient and it'll get filled in.
Well, then during a show like Osha or May, she didn't really listen to the master that much. Like, she literally only killed Indara, and when she did kill Indara, she was surprised that she was able to do it, and she did it with the dagger, not unarmed. And then she didn't actually kill Torben. She made him drink poison, which she wasn't supposed to do. And then she didn't kill Kelnaka. So she's like been failing this whole time, and now she's like, wait, why am I doing this? I suck at this anyways. And I think she just
that gets to a good speculation. Sorry, Ricky. That gets to a good speculation point, is why then is Kamir so, obviously we need more story, but maybe we can speculate a little bit. But yeah, where is his motivation? Why is he so hell-bent on killing those four? Where was he on their plan? How does he factor into all this is going to be an end? I'm looking forward to seeing more and seeing how that plays out.
Yeah, but she didn't really listen to him anyway. So I think she just saw that as like a means to an end. Like, that was her vehicle to be able to go get revenge because her coven was gone. So, since now that she doesn't need to do that anymore, then she's like, okay, bye.
And that was her biggest point was missing her sister, and now her sister's alive, and it's like, listen, I need some time away from this type of thing. So, and that's easy enough for me. I'm like, okay, I get it, and I like that. If you look at the acting cues, you can see it, because when May was like, I can't go anymore, I'm tired, I gotta walk, and Kamir's like, okay, I'm gonna go get some water. The moment he leaves, she immediately stands up. She's like, not out of breath, not sweating. Yeah. So, she was faking it to get away from him, type of thing. So, but I did love the acting, and now we can touch on Kamir. I did love his acting, and it was starting to become a little obvious that
Yeah.
he was like the moment he tripped over the box when they're getting out of the ship. I was like, oh, he's definitely faking it. Like, he's not that silly. He's definitely faking it. And if it's obvious that he's the master, that doesn't make the show any less interesting. I mean, they're
Right.
still doing it. Not every master reveal needs to be like, it was me all along, Scooby, and it's Shaggy that actually killed everybody. Like, we don't need to know that. It's just they're telling the story, and he's the villain that's been in her life. And remember, as now I'll touch on what Marie said earlier, where it's like, he said he's part of the master too, but he's not. He's been the master the whole time. He just acted like another.
He's like, oh yeah, I have, you know how he is. Like he collects people. Like I'm just, helping him out. He's
Yeah,
like
so-
manipulating her the whole time they're walking. Like, oh, what do you think he wants to do this, or what do when it's it's just she's getting in her head and she's kind of not really paying attention to him at that point. She's kind of
Yeah,
like
so in universe, he's the goof and stuff like that, but us as viewers sees all the little cues, and it's like, okay, and you can't introduce some unknown character to be the villain, so it's like, well, you got to pick someone that's on the screen. So, and people that are a fan of The Good Place, where he was Jason Mendoza, I wanted him to be evil because he played this hilarious character the whole time, and the moment he was hanging upside down, and he was like. She's like, I gotta go. When she captures Kamir and hangs him upside down, and she's like, I can't do this anymore. And he just stops swinging. And he says, he'll kill you. I was like, ooh, that was so dark. Like, I want to see him be evil and like sweaty and muscular so bad. Like, I want
like
to
his
see
little his
actor.
little subtle changes that even in the other episode when he's like, oh hey, how's it going? When it was what's her name, Osha, trying to pretend to be me, she's like, oh, he's like, hi, and then he's like,
man,
you really do look like her. And then he like changes. I love that he's been doing that back and
He gets
forth.
right up to her face and he's like, you look exactly like her. So he's always had this creepy vibe about him where he's ready to snap. And I'm so happy that we get to see that. And people might have said it was obvious.
Joker-esque,
Yeah, and honestly, I didn't even really think of it until people started talking about it, and then it started piling up, and then I wasn't. And again, I get upset that I miss on spoilers because I'm like, ooh, I want a big reveal. But this one made me excited because I wanted to see this actor be a crazy evil person. And I'm like, yes.
Hey, there was a line I've been meaning to discuss. He said something to her, was it a bit of a reveal? Did anybody catch it? He said something to her about, he name drops Master Soul. And I don't think at the time he should have known Master Soul's name. Now, it could have been explained that they had conversations off camera that we don't know about or anything like that. But there was a line that he drops where he says his name that I was like, wait, how does he know?
But he says it like a familiar way. Like
that he knew. And it was just, to me, I wondered if that was a bit of a for her, it hasn't revealed itself that way that she started getting inklings when he said that kind of stuff or whatever. It just happened for May. But I just wondered if anybody else saw that and picked up on it. At this point, it's really not a discussion point at all because it's been revealed he is, in fact, that dude. And how he knows Soul, I guess, and any of the Jedi is still a bit of a reveal.
Torben, like, he knew all, because even when she was talking with him to get the poison, he was like, well, he's not impenetrable. He's just meditating. He knew like everything about every Jedi before that even got revealed. So like, how does he know all that? And we just assumed that he was getting that information from the Master, or they were both being trained by him. Because they kind of were just talking about like, oh yeah, he wants me to do this. Oh yeah, well he's gonna do this. So the whole time he's been like talking about these Jedi. But yeah, when he mentioned Soul, like he sounded like like that's like he was familiar with him. Like he knew him.
I don't remember any interaction in the previous like episode 2, right? Because it's
he was
Osha
there
to talk to him, right? But do they interact with Kamir at all? Because even in the next episode, he says
they all go into the apothecary shop.
Oh, do they all go? Okay,
they all go in there.
I think they all went.
Yeah, they all went in there.
Okay, that's fine then. Yeah, I just was wondering if like they had
when he makes her, then they all like jump down there and go, and Soul's there too. So Soul tells him like, we'll let you go with the warning if you help us. He's the one that does the deal with him.
Okay. Come on, Jedi, quit letting bad guys go.
Yeah, I was like, he made the poison. Like, why'd you guys let him go? I'm like, they should have arrested him. Like,
and they do that a lot in the Living Force. I'm like, they committed a crime. Just lock them up. Like,
just
come on. She
Okay.
she ties him up and she runs to. Remember, we have to remember that Kamir knew the way to Kalnaka, but May did not. He's like, oh, it's that general direction. So as soon as she left, obviously Kamir cut himself down, and then we get there and Kalnaka's dead. And what a holy crap moment that was! You know, when he was sitting in that chair, I was like, no, and it should have predicted what was coming next, I guess, because I was blown away next. But man, Kalnaka dead. I'm saddened. I'm not upset like other people. Like, I didn't get a Wookiee fight. I'm like, yeah, I want every fight. If a Wookiee's there, cool. But man, you know, what an impact that was too. I'm just like, oh no, they really is just. Kamir's like, all right, you know what? You don't get a chance to kill him. I'm just gonna kill him. You know, it's just like whatever, the heck with it. And Kamir just goes, I'm gonna reveal myself to the Jedi and turn myself in. I'm just gonna go kill that guy. And I'm like, dang man, the stranger is dark. And I don't know.
Quite dark. Yes.
But yeah, seeing Kalnaka dead, I was just like, oh man, I was shocked. And do I want to see a Wookiee lightsaber fight? Yeah, I do. But I want to see every lightsaber fight.
Who doesn't want to see that? But yeah, you're right. Who doesn't want to see every lightsaber fight? I mean,
yeah, I even watched Torben. Like Torben died too. No one's like, oh no, Torben's dead. I'm just like, okay, yeah. And to me, honestly, I think Wookiees get a lot of slack as Jedi because they live hundreds of years, and it almost seems like in the High Republic that Buri Yaga has been a Padawan for like 50 years. And I'm like, well, that's not fair. Like, you know, and there's no Wookiee on the council type of thing. I always feel like Wookiees just overall deserve more attention. So it was cool to see him as a Jedi with tattoos on his head. And he died. And again, that's for impact because we got a story to tell here, I guess. So May, you had to assume that May was guilty, so they could blame May again. Remember, he keeps dying, so you kill him first. May arrives, and it's like May's guilty, and it's like, no, I didn't do it. So, and then we get the creepy reveal, and then one of the best episodes ever seen on TV, in my opinion, happens next.
I'm still wondering why Konaka had that symbol on his thing.
Yeah, that is very important. Like all them little.
That's very important.
Yeah, he was obviously studying something, and in the episode, it says Kalnaka has been in the woods for over a year. So again, Kalnaka hasn't been gone for 10 years like Torben. He's only been gone for like a year, maybe up to 3. They just say over a year. So
he kind of went excommunicado on them.
Yeah. So did he discover something? Was he on the hunt? Did he find information? And like another mystery that I'm like, man, and if we don't get it in these next 3 episodes, give me a book. Like, I'm ready for anything.
Then he tells those guys, don't touch my stuff. And then he yells at them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Beat it, you bums. So, and then I guess we should move on to the next episode.
Well, first we have to announce the arrival of our illustrious and glorious Chancellor.
Hello there!
Hello.
He's descended from the sky like a master.
Greetings and salutations, Chancellor.
I'm actually feeling a little bit sick at the moment.
A little too much yelling and celebrating?
Too much cake.
He floated down from the sky and joined us.
Which
I don't want to see any more cake, at least for another hour.
Well, at least to the most important thing before we move on to the next episode, I need Steven to say that little otter character's name. I need to hear it from Steven directly.
Oh, Basil.
Yeah, Basil. That's what I'm talking about,
Basil.
baby.
Basil.
Yeah, it just didn't feel the same coming from Ricky. He's like, Basil, whatever American
I
accent.
said Basil, didn't I?
No, it's Basil.
I said
Basil.
Basil.
Basil. It's not Basil. It's Basil. Like Steven has to say it. So I'm glad that we got.
I had a funny one. Not Star Wars, but this morning I was speaking to somebody down at the market, and they said to me, we were talking about antivirus, and he said to me, I said, well, what you got at the moment? He said, I've got, what does he call it? I can't say it. How is it? Caper Sky. It's a Kaspersky. He goes, oh, is that what it's called?
What conspiracy?
Keep the sky. Never heard it pronounced anything like that before. Anyhow, that's a bit basil and that kind of stuff. Go on.
Yeah. So just in time for Into the Fifth episode.
Yes.
Oh, the one where everything. Yes.
Unless you have any thoughts on the first couple that we went over, the flashback and.
Can't remember them.
I mean, the fifth one's the big one, and we got.
All right, so let's read the recap. Whenever you're ready, Steven, you can read. No, I'm just kidding. You just got here.
Carry on,
right.
as you were.
So the next episode is called Night. It was directed again by Alex Garcia Lopez, which is why I'm like, this was just one episode that was cut in half. It aired on June 25th, and the recap goes as such. It says, Osha witnesses the mysterious warrior kill all the Jedi except Yord, Jeki, and Sol. Sol saves Osha from the warrior and demands he reveals his identity. The warrior claims that they have already met before vanishing. Jeki captures May, but the mysterious warrior arrives to kill May for trying to betray him. Jeki breaks the warrior's mask before she is killed, revealing him to be Chimere. Sol arrives and questions Chimere, who says the Jedi might call him Sith. He intends to leave no witnesses to keep his existence secret. Yord ambushes Chimere, but is quickly killed. Sol fights Chimere again and overpowers him, but is stopped from killing him by Osha. She plants a light on Chimere that causes the forest bugs to attack him and carry him away. May uses Osha's stun gun on Sol so she can speak with Osha, but they end up arguing about each other's choices, and May uses the Force to knock Osha unconscious. May steals Osha's clothes and poses as her sister when returning to Sol, who takes her to his ship. They are followed by a suspicious Basil. Chimere frees himself from the bugs and comes across the unconscious Osha. Dun dun dun.
So all sorts of stuff in this, and I didn't realize it was the same director. Ricky, is that what you said?
Yeah, same director.
And again, streaming media shoots for 8 to 10 episodes. So it's if they split a 50-minute episode into 2 25-minute episodes, I'm like, okay, I guess they want.
I want
8.
that director to direct everything from now on.
Yeah,
so
those
fights are awesome.
Yeah, this was stunning. I was a little worried when Osha or May, Osha woke up and the fight was already going on, and I'm like, oh no, all the red shirts are dead. So I was worried they were going to do a lot of off-screen fighting, So I'm like, oh man, you got to show the Jedi.
Yeah, you could just hear it in the background. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was worried, but luckily those worries were quickly put out by one of the most straight up badassery things I've ever seen in my life, with somebody headbutting a lightsaber. Like, dude, you put the stranger, whoever he's going to be, at one of my top of the list of just the coolest things ever. So it's just, and again, I hate the comparison to the prequel trilogy. Those lightsabers were amazing. They're just much more flashier and great. But man, this deserves all the praise in the world of just its grittiness, its inventiveness by the writer to just be like, you know what? Let's bring Cortosis firmly on television because it's in canon. It was used.
I've never heard of before.
Yeah, I've heard of it in Legends, but I read the new Thrawn books. And I've heard of it in there too, and I'm like, oh, interesting. They use Cortosis, and actually, Anakin and Thrawn and Obi-Wan blow up a Cortosis factory that the whatever separatists are trying to create. They made Cortosis armor to fight against blasters, specifically against Jedi. And Thrawn and Anakin blow it up in Obi. They ended up blowing up like half the planet. They're like, oops, we used too much grenades, but whatever. That's into something else. But to see it on screen. I never realized how freaking cool it would be. Just when I personally thought that he was hitting the handles. I'm like, oh, he's hitting the handles. But when people reminded me what Cortosis was, I was like, this is so amazing. He headbutted a lightsaber. Like, it was incredible.
So it's supposed to be like a malleable, like brittle kind of metal, but it has that property where it can short out things like blaster fire and stuff like that.
Not as strong as. Yeah, it's not as strong as Beskar, but it diverts energy and redirect. It's almost like it gives a feedback,
Well, all Jeki had to do was like elbow it, and it like popped off and kind of broke in half,
Yeah, yeah, that's true. She did butt it with her 3 times. So yeah, that is true. It is brittle. So it's designed to go against blaster and to put it on your arm. I mean, the Mandalorians do it with Beskar black sabers to block sabers. So he uses it to. It was designed to stop lightsabers, and I'm like, oh man. It was just such a cool scene to have that battle. And and this is what people want. They want gritty shows. This is why Rogue One is so amazing, because it has real impact. And this did the same thing, where it just straight up killed everybody. And I was heartbroken and when they killed Jackie. Like, I guess I don't know if it was Jackie first or Yord. Oh, no, I don't want to start on
No,
Yord
it was
yet.
Jackie first.
It was Jackie first.
It was
Yeah,
Jackie
like
first.
She was
she did
doing
amazing.
so awesome in that fight. Like there's the part where like Kamir had was it May or was it Osha that was there? It was Osha. No, May, right? And he was gonna kill her and he swung down and she like did a jump off the rock and like blocked it and then started fighting. Like that was just awesome. Like she was really like athletic and just jumping around. And then when she
Yeah.
like charges after Soul gets like kind of I think his saber gets put out or something, and she like jumps off the cliff and like goes down and starts fighting him really good. Man, that was crazy. And then he does the dagger. She got all happy because she got the 2 lightsabers. She's like, look, I got another one.
Yeah.
Like it was just awesome.
Pulls out Kalnaka's saber. He blocks her saber. It disables. He goes in for the killing blow, and she's like, surprise, and pulls out another saber. And there's that 1 second scene where it's like, dun dun, like showing this awesome thing. Now it's 2 lightsabers against 1, just like pushing them back. And then she prizes them with kind of like Maul's, a little hidden toothbrush. Stab, stab, stab. I'm like, dude, did you really have to do it 3 times? Like, so this probably checks Ron's box of they weren't stabbed in the right place. Well, she was stabbed in 3 places at the right time, and
Because
it's
they
like
have 3 hearts. No, I don't know.
long heart. Like, oh man, they just like the Predator, just 3 dots in her. Dot dot dot. I was stunned.
I noticed something watching it this past time again. Like when Kamir in the last episode, when Kamir like when he ascends down, and she's like, "What's that?" And so that after he kills her, he tells Soul like, "Was that its name?" You know, like.
Oh, I forgot that connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like the way that he spoke down, whether he's a speciesist or it's just a Jedi, or just that's a way to like goad
their things. He does not value life at all.
Or he's just like a psychopath. Like like everything else outside of himself isn't it.
Yeah.
So, and then
I thought he had like turned off and on his lightsaber at first to stab her, but watching it, the little dagger, he just went boom, 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 like real quick. Like that was crazy.
And it was almost like boom, boom, boom. So it's like it gave us fans like like
I've rewatched that episode 3 times already.
I wanted to watch it this morning, but I was stupidly went to the gym instead of rewatching it. I'm like, I should have rewatched it. So
you're trying to get them athletic stuffs going on like Jackie did. So she was just jumping around.
I'm just trying to work my forearms like freaking Kamir, man. Like that guy. I'm like, are those arms CG? Because that dude is jacked.
Such a cool like I thought like he looked kind of lame, like I said when I first saw him, but like seeing with the cloak hanging over the front and then the mask and then his arms just exposed and he has that thing and like I want that action figure, man. That just looks cool. Like you know,
sweaty, like just looks dirty. He's been in a fight.
I thought he had like green skin for a second, but it was just dark and he was just full of mud. You know, like before they revealed the helmet. You know, it was like it totally does give Ren vibes from the comic. You know.
Yeah, so again, it's like Son that pointed it out. He's like, I wonder if he's a Ren, and I'd be all right with it. Again, I'm open for the story. I'd be all right if he survives this, and then he goes on to kind of be just one of the Rens, or I'm all right if he survives this, and then at the very last scene, like Tenebrow comes out, and it's like,
I was thinking that too. I was like, or Play just comes and kills him.
And kills him in one blow. So
like there can only be 2. You know?
Yeah, and then everyone thinks that he's alive, and then, so it's again, I'm open for whatever. Would I like to see him as a Ren? Yeah, any backstories on the Ren is great. I love that comic with the backstory of the Rens. That's cool. But the way he says it, some may call me a Sith. So it's, to me, he's not a Sith because it is a concern that they will ruin that the Sith, because you have to follow the previous stuff. The Sith, everyone thinks the Sith are gone. You can't have him fight 20 people and then they're still gone. All these people died by lightsabers. You think it was the Sith? Nah. Like, so they are walking a fine line. I think they're doing okay with it now. Like I said, just don't make the Jedi evil and don't make him Plagueis' master. Like I don't.
My thing was that he tells Soul when he has his helmet on, like, you don't remember me, or do you remember me? I don't think he's referring to when he met him in the previous episode. I think there's something else there. I think maybe he might, and now I can remember that Kiadi Mundi or whoever said like, oh, he probably was a former Jedi. Maybe he was a Padawan that fizzled out too. That's why he knows everybody. He's
Oh,
kind of like,
There's that interplay with Yord too. He says something to Yord.
Yord.
Sorry, Ryan. I know he's your boy.
You're still my boy, Yord.
What were you saying, Marie? I just had to wipe a tear from my face.
No, he said.
I don't know. I always found Yord a bit of a pain in the neck. Might be a bit.
Stop.
I'm over.
Don't
I'm
even
over
joke like
Yord.
that.
It's all about Basil now.
It's too soon.
It's the Basil Dazzlers now, or whatever. I don't know.
Basil Dazzlers.
If you're going by the internet, that most people seem to think that the Sol and Chimera are father and son. But I'm not quite sure how that's going to work out. But
I mean, they could be brothers or.
The favorite.
Well, that's why I asked the question a few minutes ago. Did they have any interaction? Because of this specific line where he says, "You don't remember me." Well, that's why I asked. I'm like, did they have any interaction whatsoever? And you guys reminded me that, oh yeah. So, and again, who would remember a guy in a mask? Like, but again, I think that's just him. Like,
he's like,
you know,
I did sense something familiar. He told him,
Yeah, and it's because he was around the shopkeep, so he's like, well, he kind of familiar. And again, maybe he hides his darkness. It's again, I'm open to whatever the story may be. Is he a fallen Jedi? But I feel like if he was, he would have recognized him in the shop.
But not if he was a Padawan. Would he recognize him when he's older? Because I mean, what's her name? Jackie did say like, why do you keep old like pictures of your former Padawans? So
I think that was Osha. It was more about Osha, though.
You think so? I'm just grasping at straws, trying to figure it out.
Because again, they'll let us know when it's time, I guess, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, they'll let the story unfold when it's time.
I
it's
like
fun to speculate.
and theorizing.
Do you guys?
Ricky, I think that line was in relation to the attachment thing, and why do you keep this? Where attachments forbidden or whatever
He is
type
really
of
attached
thing.
to her for some reason.
Yeah. Well, he saved her, but yeah, right. Well, there's more to that attachment, right?
Yeah, that's definitely true.
But did you guys think Yord was actually going to die, or do you think he wasn't because he's so popular?
Dude, I think Ryan said it. I didn't think the major players were going to. I thought the red shirts, we had no idea who they were, their names. Okay, sure, there's some fodder. But when they legit interacted, we've seen them, we've had a little bit of character development and no more. And that's why Ryan is upset that we've lost Yord. Yeah, no, that was, I did not.
Oh no, they Rogue One everybody.
Yeah, I did not see that coming. When he went down, I'm like, all right, typical Jedi fight or lightsaber fight. Somebody takes a scrape to the back or a leg or whatever. And that's out. They're out of the fight, but they're not out for the good or whatever. But when he goes down, and like you said, when Jackie goes down with the 3 stabs. It was surprising and awesome, and not awesome in that sense. I hate losing Jedi, but just that they showed that they did that they went there, and they went there with different styles of death. The 3 stabs. We haven't seen that before, and there's only so many ways you can kill with a lightsaber, if you will, so to speak, or whatever. But those scenes, those moments were wonderfully impactful.
And then
to the
Sol was
story
like,
and to me as an entertainment guy,
Sol tells him like she was only a child. He's like, well, you brought her here.
Like, what a burn! Like, this writing is amazing. That and like, what kind of master covers his face?
Yeah.
You tell me. I'm like, oh my god! Like, those are adding to the mystery of what the heck did Sol do that he's hiding something. And it's just
this is
like
the 5th episode, and we're so invested in these characters. It's ridiculous. That just shows like how good like the show's been so far. In the writing. Like when Jackie, I felt Jackie more than Yord because I thought she was awesome, especially the way she fought at the end. She reminded me of Ahsoka.
Her death and the 3 stab death, because she was. I don't think nubile is not the right word, but just young and sort of innocent and Padawanish or whatever. We haven't seen anything like that. Anytime we lose somebody, they were old and seasoned, and so that one was very impactful to see because we had gotten. I thought for sure, that we lost Yord. All right, she's got the fight in her and is gonna stick around somehow. I don't think she was gonna best him, but I did not think she was gonna be offed, and they did. They went there.
just as a little flashback, Ron, we do kind of see like another Padawan die. And remember in Revenge of the Sith, George Lucas's son jumps out to save Bail Organa, and he gets shot by the clones. But then again, you don't have all the connection that we have. Like Jackie
Right.
was,
That's what, yeah.
yeah, he was
Exactly. I was about to tweet that. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. We have seen it, but yeah, we didn't have a interaction with them. We didn't have a connection with them. We didn't get some character development to go, oh, she died so young type of thing. Yeah, we knew something about them. Yeah, you're right. We have seen it before, but the interaction, the time spent with, just made it impactful in a good, entertaining, storytelling way.
And she was a main
character. There's too many of them.
What are we going to do?
She was the main character. She gave the idea for Osha to approach Kamir. You know, she talked with Osha when Osha's like, I just got to leave these Jedi. You guys go find Kamir. I'm done with it. And she's like, you know, we really bonded. So we were getting to know. Remember, we also discussed the change that we got to see in Yord. We got to see his change. And then it was taken away. Like, he jumps out in one of the most brutal deaths in Star Wars, a neck snap. Like, he didn't use a weapon. Like, he turned his head backwards. And I was like, like
those arms, Ryan.
It's
Most brutal Jedi death. I mean, we've had Maul's chopped in half. We've had Mace Windu decapitate Jango Fett.
As
we could have an argument
cool as that was,
worse, decapitation or a neck break.
I mean, Vader could do that without even touching him, so that just makes Darth Vader more lethal. But yeah, there was.
Why did he use his hands? I mean, he could have done it with the Force, but yeah.
Well, because only Vader could do that, because Vader was strong. But yeah, that was just brutal when he just like no, like when he did it. It's like,
I wonder if there's still much element of misdirection in some of this, because I mean, you guys read the Empire magazine review with they interviewed the chap Quick Quaimar and the lady
Charlie,
who played
whatever.
and he in that says exactly he says exactly what he is. I'm not going to say it here. We haven't read it. But I'm still wondering whether that is a misdirection as well. I think it could still be. He said, I've known this for 2 years. I haven't been able to tell anybody. Now at last I can tell everybody I am blah, blah, blah. But I'm not a name, just a faction, shall we say. But then I still don't think that is a misdirection, because there's got to be a good reason why they're not giving his character name and just going around calling him the stranger. So it must be, there's got to be a really good reason why. He's just coming up as the stranger on text and stuff.
Well, they also didn't want to give us. They couldn't call him Kamir in the first episode, so like
Kamir.
So it's just, and again, while I may have like my belief on legends and stuff like that, and we just discussed changing Ki-Adi-Mundi to change the Master of Plagueis from Tenebrow to Kamir would. Oh man, you want to talk about backlash? Like,
but where is Tenebrow from? What is that from? Like,
Tenebrow is from the Plagueis novel.
Is it in the Plagueis novel?
Yeah, and as somebody that doesn't care about the EU, I would be mad at that too. I think they should find some way to tie that, not completely change the lineage, if you will, so to speak. It's too entrenched. And Plagueis is one of those legend books that needs to. If ever we could lobby for one of them to get turned into canon or whatever you want to say, that's one. Is very good.
And honestly, I don't even like that book all that much. Like, honestly, I don't like it, but I respect its history that it gave. And it talks about like Darth Gravis and another Sith who tried to turn to the light side and burned like half their materials. Like, that almost was the downfall of the Sith. So
did they describe Tenebrow though in that book, like what he looked like and what species and all that stuff?
Yeah, they did. He is
what is he supposed to be?
A Biff.
Like the band?
He's a Biff. Yes,
Yep.
like the band
like
people.
the
Yep.
band,
Why?
I know. Why did you change that? Maybe the
Why?
Biff.
Because it's a book, so they can get away with it in a book versus on screen.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe Kamir's next mask is a Biff head. So
maybe he's the apprentice. Like you never know, because he didn't say.
I don't know who I was listening to. I was listening to somebody discuss it. Oh, it must be in Star Wars Explained. They're talking about it and they say will they use that character or not? And it's not. And they say, well, people might look at it and go, why is the music chap suddenly a Sith Lord? Sort of thing. So it could be confusing to people who have no idea. It could be confusing to people who have no idea of that.
Did you guys notice that when I think I brought it up in the chat, but like when he heals May, or no, Osha, that they play the Kylo Ren music when he shows up?
Yeah, I didn't, but I think I've seen it, read it a few places. Yeah.
No, I have to listen.
It isn't really slow, but it still does it, you know.
And again, that's
and then
why
he
I'm
has
like,
the power to heal too. So like that's
let's not forget about that. Like he's got lots of powers.
Yeah, that's Grogu's master.
And I believe it was Marie that pointed out in our first Senate on this that you don't show a tattoo for no reason. There might be. I think Marie pointed that out originally. That it's like there might be some switcheroo, and the tattoo is going to be the reveal. And it's like, oh, there's the tattoo. And
I mean,
my daughter said they parent trapped them.
whenever you've got trends in any show there's always the inevitable switcheroo at some point. It just happened in Game of Dragons.
Game of Dragons.
It's just
Game of Dragons.
In some respects, House of Dragons, sorry. In some respects, it's lazy. So in some respects, it's lazy plot.
It's so cliche. It's so cliche. We've seen that story before. That's so cliche. We've seen that story before.
Because every story hasn't already been played out, and every
is he gonna twist Osha though? No, is she gonna turn bad because she asked she asked the Soul like, well, what happened? He's like, I will tell you later, and then like, so she knows that they're keeping stuff from her. So is he gonna tell her something? Wow. Because even May was like, May told her like they brainwashed you, and she's like, no, you're the violent one. Like so there's something.
So May's gonna get.
Ricky, you bring up a fascinating point, Ricky. I believe he does know that it's not her, but if he doesn't, if he is so caught up in the moment of the fight and all the Jedi brethren that he's lost and everything, and he doesn't realize that it's been switched or who it is, and he reveals to her what he shouldn't he reveals to her, May, what he shouldn't be revealing to May. What could go on there? That could be interesting, right? That he reveals something to Osha, what he thinks is Osha, about May or something, but he reveals it to May, so she's now hearing this, going, "Wait, what? Her world's spun around." Yeah, that could be an interesting twist. But I really think he knows that the switch is up. He just wants to find out more about her.
Yeah, I think he knows, and it's been.
He would know because he'd be able to sense it in the Force, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Right, but I think the counter to that, Marie, is that he just was through in this moment or whatever, at least at the end of the show while they're running or getting on the ship or whatever. He just was in a fight. He just lost a bunch of, he's not focused in the Force at the moment to see that because of everything that just transpired. Big bad, losing a bunch of guys, everything. But yeah, he will soon see that. Or, he is out of focus and sees she doesn't have the tattoo, and that will be his... that will be our on-screen viewers knowing that, okay, he now knows.
Yeah. I mean, that tattoo was a Chekhov's gun waiting to go off, and it's about to fire.
Yeah. So, and now it almost makes me wonder, is the first flashback that we saw, Destiny, is that like The Last Jedi, a twisted point of view? Because she says you've been brainwashed. Like, and again, I don't want.
But they didn't actually show what happened, though. They just showed them walk into the room and everybody was dead. Well, not everybody, just 4 of them. But like, so we don't really. I think there's gonna be another flashback that's gonna show what actually happened. Maybe he does explain to, Kamir does explain to her like this is what actually happened. Because I mean, Osha or May did tell her like you were brainwashed by them.
We're just gonna gloss over the fellow senator from California who dropped a Star Trek reference.
I wouldn't know a Star Trek reference if it was.
No. That's not a Star Trek reference.
No, she's referencing a legit. It's a literary reference, I believe, right, Marie?
Yes, it is. It's a literary reference. A Chekhov's gun.
A legit thing or whatever. It's like it's a trope. It's like the MacGuffin. It's that type of thing.
Chekhov was that guy. Yeah.
I'm having a little bit of fun with the name of that trope. That
Ryan said red shirt earlier, so.
But it refers to
no, I did red shirt. Yeah, I did red shirt. So foul on me as well.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, but it refers to Anton Chekhov, the playwright, not not
The
Chekhov
actor.
from Star Trek.
Mm. But it's
Any
also
last
one of the worst.
last
Also, one of the worst tattoos you could. I mean, you're gonna have a tattoo. Get something decent. I mean, come on. I mean, I'm just telling you, it's a bit like me having a tattoo of a square, isn't it? I mean, come on, what's that all about?
Well, OSHA could draw, and she was drawing Jedi symbols, so she could have drew her like a better tattoo. Well, no, she could have drew a better tattoo for herself.
And just to point out, I don't know if I did or not because my memory is total crap. But this time, OSHA actually shoots May. There is no, so it backs up the claim that she purposely missed on the second episode. She straight up blast her like, I ain't missing this time. So it's like, well, no, she's a good shot. She just didn't.
Well, everybody died, so so now she.
They're all going to die in the end, but yeah, I do agree with what Ryan said. I mean, even if they all die, I mean, somebody's got to find all these bodies at some point for lightsaber.
Yeah, they
things
kind of
and
just walked away, and I'm like, well, they probably got a cleanup crew coming that's going to pick everybody up.
Yeah, one of them weird things that I don't think they will ever mention again. It's like they'll tell us later. I don't think they'll tell us later at all. They're just like, we got to get that here.
I saw that, and that's added to my list of, all right, we have to do a session on the amount of lightsabers that are just unaccounted for. That just, is there like a Men in Black crew that
Yeah,
comes
it's like
in
John
after
Wick,
a fight
like where they
and
come in
scoops
and
them
they
all
clean
up
up.
or something? Yeah, right?
Well,
Then what goes on?
I think they've all got Apple tags on their air tags on them, so they can just track them down. And as soon as you get near, got one lightsaber, you get near another lightsaber, it goes beep 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 beep, track them down and stuff.
They got to pick up the Wookiee.
You joined late. You joined late, Chancellor. Apple's not the sponsor this week. Curses.
Apple's never the sponsor.
He's all going to get free air tags.
But you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts.
Yes.
Like,
they want to be a
subscribe,
sponsor,
leave
they
us a comment.
can. We don't mind. I will accept any free gifts.
Apples, pears, oranges, whatever, but fruit wants to
whatever.
sponsor us.
Carrots, yeah.
Cuties, yeah.
Carrots.
Carrots were sponsored by carrots.
It was an amazing episode. I felt like it kind of reshuffled things around. We're going to get more reveals when obviously Soul talks to, I'm mixing up the names. Soul talks to May and the stranger talks to OSHA. Like, I'm hoping to get another info dump because we had an amazing battle, so I don't know how it's going to end now. Like, would they do another battle with Kamir? Like, this felt like a finale, but the big two didn't die because that's all that's left is two. So it's like, well, now what
How about
happens?
a quick prediction? Is Kamir the big bad, or do we get led to him having someone?
I do believe he is the big bad because again, I just don't want him to be really a Sith. As much as I'm like, oh, it's Legends. It's like no,
I don't need him to be a Sith. But right, is he answering to somebody? Or right, is he's just driven by revenge or whatever it is that motivates him? That I don't believe him Sith to be either, because he says the line, the Jedi like you would call me Sith, and we have the whole Sith problem, and the writers and everybody making this clearly know all that too. They're not stepping on any of that sort of stuff. So relax. So yeah, I think but we have to have big bads, because if we are beholden to this rule of two, I don't want to say nonsense, but if we're beholden to the rule of two thing, it makes storytelling incredibly difficult, because there can only be two for how far back that you have to allow for these random bads, these different
two on this
sects of
planet
bads.
and two on this other planet that don't know about each other, then the rule of two kind of sucks.
And let's be honest, it's a bad rule.
That's a clever way to get around it, Ricky. I like it.
It made them stronger, but at the same time, in the Plagueis book, they literally said they almost died several hundred years ago because one of the Sith was like, I don't like this. I want to be good. And then they burned the whole place down. Like, it could be one plane crash and you ended all of Darth Bane's struggles. So I'm like, the rule of two isn't even that great of an idea. So like,
no.
Well, my prediction is I think Soul's going to die. Vernestra's going to have to go after Kamir with Ki-Adi-Mundi. They're going to kill him, and then Vernestra will be like, we can't speak of this. And then that's why Ki-Adi-Mundi in episode 1's like, the Sith have been thing for money.
Still got that bit in the trailer with Vernestra of a light rip, which you haven't seen.
Yeah, they haven't done that yet.
That's what be in the present time.
And she's in like the forest too, the same way. So maybe she
that
goes
can't
and
because she was nothing to do with the stuff that happened the first time around.
Yeah. So we got 3 more episodes. So we'll next Senate we'll probably discuss those. So this is good. It's good going over these.
Yeah, I felt it was needed. 3 episodes was a lot to cover. 3 more, we'll have a lot of information, and whatever the ending will be, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
I am
Steven, do you want
excited.
to
I'm
do
really
the-
looking forward to it.
So yeah, so this was a good Senate session. It's good covering all these. If you guys like what you hear, make sure to go follow us on whatever podcatcher you listen to and subscribe and like. And until next time, it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from Ron.
Cheers, everyone. Stay safe.
And goodbye from Ryan.
Yord Horde.
And goodbye from Marie.
Goodbye.
And goodbye from Steven.
Basil.
And until
Yes.
next time, may the force be with you. And what's the High Republic mantra? What do they say?
For
You're all the Republic?
light and life.
Oh, for light
Live
and life. Yeah. No, don't say that.
Oh.
All right.
Sorry, my bad. Great show, everybody.
Bye-bye.
That's it.
Goodbye there.
All right. See you later.
Go switch off. I am the Senate.
Be sure to follow us online. We're at Facebook at PSW Senate. Join our PSW Star Wars Facebook group where we all are in there interacting. You can find us on Twitter at PSW Senate. On Instagram, we're at PSW Senate Podcast. And on TikTok, we're at PSW Senate Podcast. We look forward to hearing from you.
The Force will be with you, always.
Got nothing for the after show.
There, now it's going.
We have 3 or we have 4 episodes to go over.
3, but
3.
But the second and third one are like basically one long episode. So
Yeah, you can call it like a 50-minute episode.
yeah. Just I'm trying to pull up the.
I mean, I'm sure we'll clearly discuss it, but Ryan, were you disappointed when they didn't continue on episode 3? They did not continue with the one word / other word.
Yes, I was looking forward to that. So I was like,
I
oh,
saw
that's
that. I was just like, oh man.
I know they broke the pattern.
Yeah, you had something beautiful going.
Yeah, I agree. It was looking good. They're still doing the opposite, what day and night and destiny and whatever the opposite of destiny is going to be. So they're still doing the opposites of things. But I really did enjoy the slash stuff. And Ron went muted. I don't know if anybody else is still here.
I'm
I'm here.
Okay, good.
We're still here, Ryan. We won't abandon you.
I'm eating crunchy chips, so I'm trying to mute in between eating, so you don't have to contend with the bag rattling and me
Wow.
going crunch crunch. So yeah, I'll be muting in and out.
Well,
Hopefully that's not
he's
annoying.
driving and he has a bag of chips and he's muting and unmuting his phone at the same time.
Multitasking.
The car that I got has like auto lane center, so I'm more hazardous than ever. So
Oh, my car has that, and it's so freaky.
Yeah, I turned it off.
Yeah, I had to turn it off because it was like trying to throw me into things. I was like, no thanks.
I
Well,
think the
we
more
did-
concerning part.
Good.
So
It
I think
does-
the more concerning part is nobody's realizing I'm housing a bag of chips at 10 a.m.
no, that's usually my lunchtime. That's like my lunchtime snack right before.
Yeah, if
work.
it was
That's
like,
like my-
if it was like 5:30 in the morning, then you're eating a bag of Doritos, and that may be kind of weird. But
Yeah.
I have my Star Wars Oreos next to me that I was getting ready to start eating, but I forgot about them. But now I'm like, no, I want Oreos, but I don't want to keep muting and unmuting to eat Oreos at 10 in the morning.
I just ate the last of my Oreos last night.
I had some with cookies and milk last.
I hate those cookies. I can't even finish eating. I haven't eaten them in a
They're
week.
good.
I
What are
hate
you
them.
talking about?
They're terrible. They're
ones?
one of the worst Oreo cookies I've ever had. Is the Star Wars ones. I hate them with a passion.
You're crazy.
Really?
They're good.
Yeah, they
just
have
taste like Oreos. They taste the
no,
same.
dude. When was the last time you had Oreos?
I buy Oreos like every Halloween. I buy the orange ones.
Exactly. You like it once a year, but the paste or whatever, the cream is a different consistency, and I noticed it immediately when I put my fork in because I eat Oreos with a fork. So I put my fork in, and immediately I was like, "This cream is
Who eats
not
it with the fork?
Yeah, Ryan, I'm going to cut you off right here, Senator. You have lost all credibility about the consistency and anything Oreo because you just audibilized out loud to the world. I eat Oreos with a
With a
fork.
fork.
Listen to this. Though. I used to
He
be
ties a napkin around his neck, sits down like a cartoon with the knife and the fork, and he cuts.
It's no. Listen. I used to be the same way, a non-believer, but I've joined the light side of Oreo eating. So instead of dunking your fingers into milk, you take a fork, you slide it into the cream, you put the whole cookie in the milk, you let it sit there, you pull the cookie out, and eat the whole cookie. Like I'm telling you, you got to
Who
try
eats
it.
Oreos with milk? That's disgusting. Ugh.
I do.
Wait, what?
I-
What? How else you
dipped
supposed
it
to
in-
eat?
By
And it was kind of
themselves.
cool if you dip
Confidence.
those ones in milk because you can see the picture.
Confidence. Isn't it the
Yeah, now the
slogan
great
for-
senator from California has lost all confidence because she's blaspheming milk with cookies. What is going on? It's all
I don't like milk.
Isn't the slogan? Well, I drink it with almond milk, so it's look at a little bit.
Oh, okay, you get a pass.
Now you've lost even more credibility. Milk comes from a mammal, that's almond juice.
Hey, it's sweet and
You can milk a cat. You can milk an almond.
I'm gonna challenge you to eat an Oreo with a fork in the cream. Don't cut it up like a knife. Put it in the cream. Put the whole thing in, and then pull the fork out and eat it. And you'll be like, "My world has changed in one bite." I challenge you.
I grab it by the end.
Well,
dip the end
I'm
in
not a
first,
dunker,
and
but I
eat it
get
little
what you're
by little.
going for there, Ryan. It is a clever
Yeah. So nice soft.
way to do it for sure.
Anyway, the cream is like too creamy, so the density is less, and it has like sugar crystals in it because my wife eats the cream first, and so she opened it up and scraped it and ate it, and then she eats the cookie, and she's like, "Oh my god, there's sugar crystals in it," and people don't believe me, and I'm like, "Eat just the cream, and it has like crunchy sugar
It
crystals."
says on the box that there's crystals.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
me. They don't. Honestly, I said I don't like the sugar crystals, and people are like, "There's no sugar crystals." I'm like, "Yeah, there is. It's space Oreos. They released space Oreos last year, and it had sugar crystals." And I'm like, "These are terrible." And they changed the cream consistency, and they used sugar crystals, and I'm like, "Nope, I'm out. I hate it."
they didn't change. They probably didn't change the cream consistency itself. It's
Added
the
the-
food coloring that probably changes it.
Yeah, which is understandable, but that's unfavorable. And my like, nope, you should have
Rick,
changed.
Rick.
You should have did something different.
See, like I said, I'm used to eating the
Ricky,
Halloween
the
ones that are
Star Wars
orange.
packaging says it has crystals in it.
I believe
Let me
so.
grab
Yeah,
it.
it says
Rick, I
different.
think
Because
so.
I sleep
My
with them.
experience has been I noticed that at first, Ryan, but maybe I've just gotten used to it. But after I've gotten like the third or fourth pack, I don't. Something made me think, well, maybe that was just the first batch, and then or early batches, and then they got it right. But no, if it's on the packaging, then it still exists. I'm just not noticing it. Have you noticed the blue isn't consistently blue the whole way through?
Yeah, it
No,
says
the-
on the bottom, red
The
or
center's
blue.
always white. Yeah.
Yeah, on the bottom
The
it
center-
says red or blue cream with Kyber inspired sugar crystals. So we're eating glass is what they're telling us because it's Kyber inspired.
Yum.
What does Chirrut say? The heart of an Oreo is made of Kyber.
I hate, and I'm getting bashed online for it, but I hate them. I'm going to eat one right now, so I got to go mute.
I think I'm just used to eating the orange ones for Halloween, so I don't really care about the food coloring.
Yeah, it doesn't bother. The consistency of the cream doesn't bother me because at least it doesn't taste off. It doesn't have that like, ew, there's food coloring in this taste. So I'm good
Yeah.
with it.
And the center's like
Oh, you
basically
maniac.
white.
Let's acolyte this. Let's launch this candle.
Mostly it's the sugar crystals I have a problem with. But yeah, okay. I'm sorry I started cookie talk. But eat your Oreos with a fork. Try
The
it.
letter trick works,
And
by
then
the way.
Apologize to me. And then apologize to me. It's got to be a skinny fork, not any of them really fat forks. Like
It
use
tastes
a
like
skinny.
metal.
Don't
All
bite
right.
through the fork.
Are you guys ready?
You got the intro.
I'm ready.
Yeah, I think so.
Let me clean my teeth and I'm ready.